Hi, this is Mike Rankin with Relational Advisors, and I'm here with the install of Relational Intelligence. And wanted to just share some thoughts with you that I've learned over time about buying cars. And this subject has come up repeatedly, especially with participants in 401k plans and relatives, children, lots of younger employees especially who are maybe buying the car for the first time. And the vehicle is one of the most important purchases that we make, especially early on when we don't have other asset base. And so it becomes a really large part of our balance sheet. And when I ask folks about the asset that they're purchasing, and I say, what kind of asset is a car? And often you kind of get a blank stare. And the answer is a car is a depreciating asset, meaning it goes down over time. So especially when, again, we're maybe younger in our careers, but may even be older. But if we don't have a significant asset base, meaning you don't have a lot of other money, then really paying attention to the price of the vehicle that you purchase and thinking of it like an investment. And that is an investment that is going to go down over time. And you say, well, Mike, whoever wants to go into an investment where the balance of that investment is going to go down over time, but that's exactly what a car does. So if I had an investment for you and I said, look, today you're going to put in a little over $25,000 and in 5 years from now you're going to have $15,000, would you want to put as much money as possible into that or as little money as possible into that? And the answer is you'd want to put as little money as possible into that. However, the auto industry is designed around getting you to pay as much as you possibly can afford, and in some cases, more than you can afford to get into a vehicle. And they do this by, selling emotion that's wrapped within a car. But the reality is that you just need a car to get from point A to point B. And so if you think about it like an investment, and that investment is going to go down over time, that helps take some of the emotion out of it, and you really look at it through a financial lens. So there is a tool online called True Cost to Own, and Edmunds.com is the company that manages the data within that. But you can go and punch in any car that you want, and it basically gives you a true cost to own. Obviously, they're averages, but the things that I like to look at are depreciation and also repairs. So this is an example of a 2018 Honda Accord, and you can drop in any car that you like. You can put a Range Rover in there and then see what the depreciation numbers are. It'll blow your mind. And it's nothing against Range Rover. It's a fantastic vehicle, but it's got a very high price point and it depreciates rather quickly. So when you start to look at the range of cars that you're thinking about, punch them into this and then create a little spreadsheet. And you'll soon begin to see what the cost of the maybe the financing, the fuel, the insurance, and maintenance. Really important to look at it from that perspective. And then once you've done that, you're going to get a better idea as to what that quote unquote investment loss is going to look like for you. And so the other component, so not only the price of the car, but also how you buy the car is really important. So do not step foot onto a lot, auto dealer lot, unprepared, meaning if you know exactly what kind of car you're going to buy and the price that you're willing to pay for it, because now there's so much information out there on the internet, whether it's Edmunds or Kelley Blue Book, you can find out what is a reasonable price to pay. But what the car sales organizations and therefore salesmen and women are designed to, trained to do is to get you to focus on the monthly payment and not on the price of the car. And this is kind of a sucker's game because what they can ultimately do is they can extend the term of the loan. They can try to get you, certain credits and rebates. And if they say, well, how much can you afford every month? And you say, well, I can afford $300 a month or $400 a month, $500 a month, whatever it is. Then they could say, okay, now we're going to extend the term of the loan and we're going to back you into the highest price point available. So that gets you off your game. What you really need to do is negotiate the actual price of the car, not the monthly payment. In general, you want to be purchasing a slightly used car. As we know about depreciation from the prior slide, the cars depreciate the fastest in that first year. In fact, right when you drive them off the lot. Look at the 5-year cost to own, the true cost to own through Edmunds or other tools online. And then do not let anyone talk you into a 7-year loan. So because the cars depreciate, meaning they go down in value, if you extend your loan period to a 5, a 6, a 7 year, then you can certainly be in what we call a negative equity situation. That means that the, quote, the value of your investment has dropped below what you owe, and you're basically what we call upside down on that car. And no one ever plans to go into that negative equity situation, but a lot of people find themselves there because they don't put enough down on the car, or they take too long of a loan, or some combination of the two, in which case they find themselves 3 to 4 years out in a negative equity situation where the value of the car has dropped below what they actually owe on the car. And then you spend the next 4 or 5 years trying to dig yourself out of that hole. So what we recommend is to do at least a 30% down on a slightly used car with a 3 to 4 year payment. And if you model that out and you can't afford whatever that monthly number is, then you probably can't afford the price of that car, and you need to step down in terms of the overall purchase price. What a lot of people do is they get their heart set on that particular car and they realize they can't afford the monthly payment, and then they stretch out the loan terms to a 5 or a 6 or a 7-year loan term. So, I can afford this. Well, then that's how you end up in that negative equity situation. So the resources, I would remind you, look at yourmoneypage.com. That will help you with the paycheck withholding calculator, and this helps in the budgeting process. How much can I afford? Also, Edmunds.com, Kelley Blue Book, and then there's a number of calculators online, whether it's calculator.net, which is really my favorite. You can calculate all sorts of auto loans. So you should absolutely be prepared, knowing the 5-year cost to own, what you can actually afford in terms of purchase price, and then that will bring you back to what your monthly is, what you can afford from a budgeting standpoint, using that 30% down and using a 3 to 4 year. And in that way, you'll end up in a positive equity situation, and no matter what car you buy, and using that slightly used car. So those are my tips, and wish you happy purchasing of your car on the car lot.